learn from Senator Kyle. I worked for him for a year. I saw what he did in the Senate. He led by being educated on the issues and being effective by teaching his colleagues and then leading, not flamboyantly, in order to actually get things done. So going there with the experience and the education that I have, I plan to use that example to be smart and credible on the issues, to educate my colleagues, and actually get things done and lead like I've done in my whole military career.
Thank you, Ms. McSally. Mr. Sitton, your rebuttal, please.
When people come to this country and don't know much about it, they are surprised to hear that my three colleagues here did not swear an oath to the President, the Duke, or the King. They swore to the Constitution of the United States. I think that's the rallying point to end gridlock in the United States. I'd like to go to Washington, D.C. and speak in common sense terms. When I began my campaign, the first thing I said is, I am an American first. I happen to run as a Republican. We're going to find all Americans who want to revive common sense in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Mr. Sitton. Mr. please.
The problem with that, there's a lot of people on the left that don't have any common sense. You're going to be looking a long time to find them. What you got to do is you got to get good people elected, people with sound principles. We had a bipartisan Arizona legislature that worked with a Democrat governor. What did it get you? It got you a $3 billion hole in your budget and it got you a sales tax increase. When you got a good conservative legislature elected, you got a reduction in that spending and you got a balanced budget. Sometimes you have to send the right people to Washington, D.C. All the left wants you to do is capitulate and compromise on certain principles. Oh, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Antonori.
You got my drift.
Mr. Kelly.
No, I think the best way to end gridlock in Washington is to vote in more Republicans. That's the truth of the matter is that there has been a party out there that has fought to lower taxes, that has fought to drill. There's been a party out there that uses the word the Constitution, that uses the word freedom. Yes, we will be bipartisan when necessary. If we can join together to cut taxes, we will and we want to. But right now we need to win elections, and that's how we'll win the gridlock.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
Our final question is for you, Mr. Sitton. How would you respond to Iran's nuclear program?
Iran does not have any right to a nuclear program. The United Nations have said so, we know it by common sense, and our friends in Israel know it very, very well. Beyond that, we also know that the history of that region is what it appears to some people. We know that the Iranians are Persians, that the rest of the Gulf is occupied by Arabs. We need to understand that not every one of the states in that neighborhood would be very happy with Iran having that nuclear weapon. At some point in time, it's likely that our allies, Israel, are going to respond in their own national interest. When they do so, America must stand firm with Israel and keep calm the rest of the neighbors in the Arab states there who will benefit as well when there's no nuclear weapons in Iran.
Thank you, Mr. Sitton. Mr. Antonori, your rebuttal, please.
We absolutely have to support our ally Israel. If they determine, because the Iranians have said that they want to wipe them off the face of the earth. If they feel that threat and Iran gets a nuclear weapon and they need to go, we need to support them and stand behind them to stop Iran from threatening our allies. And if Iran becomes a direct threat to the United States, then the United States must act to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon that can be used here on American soil. We must do that. That is our #1 job.
Thank you, Mr. Antonori. Mr. Kelly.
The President should stand up to a podium as soon as Israel decides it's time to go and say to the world that the United States of America backs Israel in every possible way. They are our dear friend, and that everyone else needs to back off. And the good news is Israel is very well prepared to take on Iran at any time they want. We can provide them all the intelligence they need and anything else they need, but our vocal backing of Israel is very critical. Sadly, we haven't had that.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Ms. McSally.
We cannot tolerate a nuclear state sponsor of terror, and that's what Iran is. This is not just about our dear and close ally Israel, and this is an existential threat to them. This is a threat to the free world, and America is the leader of the free world. So we need to be seriously addressing this threat as strength and not weakness, bringing all elements of national power against it, to include diplomatic, economic, and visible military planning to address this threat. There is no good scenario of a nuclear Iran, and we need to take the lead on that to make sure that we prevent it.
Thank you, Ms. McSally, and thank you, panel. At this time, I will open the floor to audience questions, and afterwards, the candidates will each be allowed a 1-minute closing statement. For the audience questions, I will have tickets drawn at random from the box. I will then call out the last 3 digits on each of those tickets. If your ticket corresponds with one of those 3 numbers, then please make yourself heard and stand up so that we can bring the microphone over to you. And also a quick reminder, please keep your questions to a specific candidate. So we will have the first ticket drawn now. Would you please draw the first ticket? Our first 3 numbers are 905. 905, is that? Your question, please.
Good evening. My name is Steve Shambler. I live here in Vail. I'm a local pastor. My question would be to, really I didn't have a specific candidate, but my question is this. This is a very important week in the life of Christians across the world. This is Passion Week. And understanding that we live in a time in our country where it's almost politically incorrect to be a person of faith anymore. I was just wondering how much faith, your personal faith, means to you, and what would you do? How would that interact in your pursuit of what you're pursuing to represent America in Congress, what that means to you, and how would you fight for that freedom?
Would you ask that question to specific candidate?
Yeah, Jesse Kelly.
Well, I've had this question in the past, and I tell people, my faith in God it's not part of who I am. It is who I am. It's who I am. It helps me become a better husband, a better father, help me be a better Marine. It will help me in Congress. It is who I am. It is everything to me. And I do believe in this nation because I believe this nation has absolutely been blessed by God on high, and that we will come back because we are blessed by God on high.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Would you please draw the next ticket, sir? Our next ticket number is
912.
912.
My question is directed to Frank Antonori. Frank, in the past, we've heard how important it is for Republicans to reach across the aisle, and I would just like to hear your comment about what that means.
Well, there are times when we can work together, and I've worked with Democrats in the Arizona legislature when we both had the same goal in mind. We can do that. But then there are times when we have such staunch disagreements where you have to do what you believe is what's best for the people that you represent. When I was sent to Phoenix, again, we had a budget deficit that was created by both Republicans and Democrats. That same problem is going on in Washington. That deficit was created by both Republicans and Democrats. We sent fiscal conservatives up there to balance that budget and bring spending in line and get it under control. The Democrats at the legislature would not offer any help. Not one penny in spending cuts they didn't offer. Not one reform to reduce the size of government. All they wanted to do was raise taxes. We said no. We weren't going to do that. We were done with raising taxes on the people of the state, and we were going to balance the budget. So there are times when you can work with them, and there are other times when you have to stand on principle and get the job done, accomplish the mission, and do what's right for the people that elected you.
Thank you, Mr. Antonori. Our next ticket number is
878.
878. Is that anywhere? No one? 878. Okay, we'll have another.
Dave said that was his ticket.
I'd like that ticket, please,
Would you please draw another ticket, sir? Our next ticket number is 876. 876. 876. Oh, that's you. Okay. Excuse me. Go to the audience. Okay.
Mr. Sitton,
Yes, sir.
you talked about the importance of the vote and our citizens, or the importance of the American citizen as a voter.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like to ask how you would protect